there's times in our cycles when we can push harder. There's
Yes.
times in our cycle where we need to slow down. There's times in our cycle, well, maybe our brain isn't like on top of things and we beat ourselves up because we're trying to keep up with all these things. Like there's ebbs and flow within this like overall like monthly cycle where we need to give ourselves grace, and then we can push ourselves, whether that's in the gym or our exercise or our fasting techniques. And I think for women, when we don't honor that, like when we don't honor these ebbs and flow, we're just always going. And that's one thing I could always talk to you about with your experience. And I'd love for you to share that, because you did that. What is it? Russian woman syndrome, right?
Yep.
I think whenever I'm sitting one-on-one with a woman and, I talk to them about like, just because you can get stuff done doesn't mean you should, doesn't mean you're coming from a good place. Half the time they end up in tears because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Like, you're right. I'm yelling at my kids. Like, I feel like I'm always arguing with my husband. I'm just feeling tired and fatigued because I'm always going. But I always love your messaging on that, about like even your own experience with Russian woman syndrome.
Yeah, I think the rushing woman syndrome is such a powerful concept because, I was raised by a really powerful mom that was basically gave me the message that you're a woman, you can do anything you want. And so I was launched into the world with like, I can do anything a man can do, maybe even better. And I never I never stopped to acknowledge the soft part of me, the nurturing part of me. And it worked okay until I got into my perimenopausal years. And then all of my push on through, everything from the extreme exercise to the extreme fasting to the, extreme healthcare that I was doing on myself to be the healthiest version of me, I started to realize there needs to be softness. I need to bring back I can't do that. I need to bring back, right?
I can't do that. Yeah.
That's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. But if we just make it simple for women, when we go to these sex hormones, when we look at testosterone, when we look at estrogen and we look at progesterone, they have vastly different personalities. And in the book, what I did, because I hate the word follicular and luteal, and I like to make everything fun, I basically I created 3 different phases to a woman's menstrual cycle. And the one phase is called the power phase. And the power phase is when you can push through, you can power up. It's okay hormonally for you to do that. And then during ovulation, I call it the manifestation phase, because you can manifest a baby if you want to, but you can also, you have estrogen at her peak. You are wickedly mentally strong. Your verbal communication will be strong. Your ability to multitask. If there's any problem you need to resolve, do it during ovulation. In fact, I had this vision during the pandemic. I was like, we just need to get a bunch of ovulating women in a room together and they're going to solve the problem because they have estrogen at its highest, testosterone at its highest, and a little bit of progesterone. Yeah. But then the last phase where progesterone comes in is the nurture phase, and is what I named it. And I feel like that's where we have to nurture ourselves first. We have to go soft. There's a reason we don't feel like working out then. There's a reason we crave carbs. Yeah. There's a reason that all those social events we said yes to, and now we don't want to do, because progesterone's sitting there saying, hey, nurture me, nurture me. And I came rushing into my 40s without that knowledge, and I struggled. And this is why I'm now writing all these books, is I feel like I want to turn around to the women that are younger than me and say, okay, let's do this different. It needs to be done different, because this is not serving us. I truly believe, Rebecca, that like cancers, hormone cancers, a lot of the chronic metabolic problems are because women are pushing through their cycle without acknowledging these different personalities.